That is so cool. Wow, look at all these people. Hello. What a wonderful meeting on a Saturday afternoon here in Bristol, England. In fact, speaking of Bristol, England, this is my coffee, and it's I don't know if you recognise the face on this coffee. It's Wallace from Wallace and Gromit, a famous Bristol-based animation, actually. So, standing. Hmm. Unfortunate design flaw of this is that when you sip it, his face touches your face, and then you get a little bit of coffee dribble. So we'll try and keep that off the Kuntz guitar I'm playing right now. Well, it's a pleasure to be here for my first cheese and pickle sandwich. Exactly. It's a pleasure to be here for my first stream with you guys. What an awesome format. I really don't do a lot of these. Some of you might know I'm on the road quite a lot. On the road. A lot in the States. I've just actually finished a UK tour with Justin Hayward from the Moody Blues, which was a lot of fun indeed. Nice to play here in the land of cheese and pickle sandwiches, right? Hello, Sweden. Hello. But yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity. I'm back here for a week, and the wonderful Mark hit me up, and timing worked out perfectly, and here we are. So my name is Mike Dawes, for those who don't know me. And I'm a UK-based, Bristol-based guitar player, and I've been a kind of professional guitar player for 10 years or so. And I'm in celebration mode because last week I actually released an EP with Tommy Emmanuel, the greatest guitar player of all time, which is pretty weird. A crazy kid in Bristol gets to record with Tommy Emmanuel, which is absolutely bizarre. And I just want to, before we get started here with some playing, I just want to introduce you to this magical device, which is providing the luxurious effects this evening. This is something called a Tonewood amp, which I've been playing with for quite some time now. In fact, I still get recognised on the street for being that guy from the Tonewood amp advert on YouTube, right? I don't know if you can see it there. Let's get a little camera to autofocus on it. These things stick to the back of your acoustic guitar, and that's what I have going right now. It's actually stuck to the back of my guitar right there, you see, with magnets. And what it is it's sort of like an effects processor. It sort of vibrates the guitar and sends effects through the guitar's sound hole, which is bizarre. So it's like you're constantly playing in a bathroom. You know, not literally, I mean in terms of reverberance and atmosphere. And from that, we actually have an output cable running to this little amp behind. So we have a little bit of ambience coming. But if you were to kill the amp, the sound you're hearing right now is reverb and delay just coming out of the sound hole. Bizarre, right? Very, very strange indeed. So I've set the delay to a tempo that's challenging. It's quite fast, so I'm going to kick things off with something a little bit fast, okay? This is the first song that I wrote when I was 17 years old, and I wrote it in my bedroom. I wish I could say it was over there, but this is a different house. This is a song called Boogie Shred. Here we go. I was going to say everyone count 1, 2, 3, 4. But I'll do it myself. 1, 2, 3, 4. Happy Saturday. Double harmonics. Everyone in the chat, type your favourite variation of baked good. Mine's an olive bun. Chocolate chip cookie, baked potato. Nice. This is so much fun, guys. I think that coffee's starting to kick in, okay? Let's read some of these comments. Mike, stay with us. Two, four. Lactic acid is a menace. Practice, Jimmy. And a degree in English literature. One, two, together. There we go. One song down.
Hey, it's Mark, founder of Together.co, and before we get to the rest of this video, let me tell you a little about what goes on over on our website and app. If you love guitars, this is a great community. Every month we have tons of live stream shows from all your favorite guitarists. Come on over to the site. You can browse our artist roster, check out all the upcoming shows, and watch replays of past performances. Also at Together, you not only get to watch great performances, but you can interact with the artists and our community either in the chat or by jumping on screen to meet the artists at every show. So stick around. At the end of this video, I'll give you a special discount code and let you know how to start your free trial.
With a nice little bit of delay. Wow, I was fine to keep up with that delay, guys. That was maybe a little bit fast for me with that. Thank you so much, Peter and Natasha and all these people. This is so fun. Head explode. The trick is, with stuff like that, is to delegate between the different hands. So things look a lot faster than they actually are, you know? Like little licks like this kind of sound really, really complicated. But when you break it down, it's just sort of different patterns of three delegating between the two hands, right? So instead of going da-da-da-da-da-da, which is very hard, it's really da-da-da-da-da-da, which is very easy, right? So for example, you know, 1, 2, 3, easy pattern. Slap, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, tap, tap, slide, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3, off, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And that's how I'm thinking about it when I'm doing these fast licks, right? 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, okay? So it seems a little crazier than it actually is. You know, I wrote that tune. It's called Boogie Shred, by the way. I don't know if I told you that. The song is called Boogie Shred, and I'm going to type it in the chat here. Not booby, but boogie. And it was named by my friend Howie in a pub. I played it in a pub in England when I was just turned 18, and I was allowed in pubs, because in England you can drink when you're 18, not when you're 21. That's probably why I look so haggard. But he named it, and now it's Boogie Shred. Yes, thanks, Jimmy. Thank you very much. But yeah, it stayed with me for quite some time, and it has gone through changes. In fact, the original version didn't have any kind of kick drums, because that was a technique that I kind of worked on post writing it, and I kind of have come back to the song and changed a few things. This little fill was added in later. I think the fill used to be some kind of picked thing like that. But thanks so much for coming. It's also featuring that song and many more songs, ladies and gentlemen, features on this little album behind me. The camera doesn't autofocus very well, but that little colourful guy, I can't bend my wrist that far. Right there. A live album I put out in 2020 because I felt there was a gap in the market for live music in 2020. The album's called Shows and Distancing, live in the USA, and you can stream it today or yesterday. You could have streamed it yesterday. So folks, I'm going to throw it over to you guys. Do anyone, I presume everyone here kind of plays music, or perhaps you're just a fan of the musicality. But does anyone have any questions they would like to ask while I sip this Wallace-based caffeinated beverage?
Are you guys going to play some tunes together plus doing your own sets?
Absolutely. Well, I'm opening for Tommy because
Yeah,
he is the king, But I get to do quite an extended opening set, which I'm very grateful for. So I play for about 45 at the start of the show,
yeah.
and during that set, maybe depending on what we do, Tommy might come out and we might play something together. And then at the end of this Tommy's set, maybe we'll play stuff together. I mean, we did just release a duo EP,
Yeah.
so we will probably play at least that many songs together. I don't know. We'll see. But man, it's crazy to think that I recorded an EP with Tommy Emmanuel. That's like a rock band doing a split EP with like Led Zeppelin. It's like it doesn't really get any bigger than that. So it's a privilege to share the stage with him and to work with him in any capacity. And some of the tunes, we got to do some really delicate. It's not just like shreddy, crazy guitar.
Yeah,
There's some real
totally.
delicate stuff in there, And yeah, I'm thrilled that all the shows I'm doing for the rest of the year are with Tommy because he has the best sound guy as well, Steve Law.
Yeah.
Amazing sound guy for acoustic music. If you want to hear an acoustic guitar, you want to see it at a Tommy show because it hits you right in the chest. It's great.
Amazing.
Boost at 50 hertz, ladies and gentlemen. That's the hack.
In terms of your live sound, for how are you getting what combination of pickups and miking are you doing on that guitar for your live sound?
So on stage, it's very different to now. Now I'm just using the piezo pickup under here
Yeah.
to send to the Tonewood amp, and then just to boost the level a bit for the benefit of the live stream. That's just literally running into an amplifier just to boost it a little bit, just to get a little bit more bass than the guitar would produce naturally. But live, I actually have 4 pickups. So it's very unusual. I could probably get away with 3, but I have 4 because I'm a nerd, So it's the quick way to think about it is under the bridge plate, which is this just here. You guys might be familiar. Acoustic guitar players will be familiar that this is a saddle, right? This little like white piece of material, and a lot of pickups for acoustic guitar are placed under the saddle. However, I don't like how that sounds. You get a very kind of quacky, high, shrill attack, which I don't really like. So instead, I've got my piezo inside the sound hole and actually under there. It's under the actual wood, but in that same kind of location. And I found that gives it a warmer sound, right? So that's the pickup that I'm using now. I combine that with a microphone, which if I turn that on, it picks up all the sides, That's it off. It's a bit quieter because that's just coming through the piezo. But if I turn the mic on, much louder, right? So that's on live to get some percussion. Then I've got this guy, the magnetic pickup, which I co-designed with Damasio. It's called the Black Angel, which sounds like some sort of terrible superhero, I suppose, a cancelled superhero franchise. And I use this to pick up my pick up my strings only, because if you think about the function of a magnetic pickup, it's not picking up any of the wood vibrations. It's just magnets picking up the vibrations of the strings, right? Exactly, Jimmy, because what that enables you to do is run things like distortion and octave sounds and on all these other electric guitar stereotypical effects, because it's just picking up the strings. So you can treat it just like an electric guitar. Imagine if you put distortion on the microphone or distortion on the piezo. It would sound awful because it's dealing with wood vibrations. And I mean, you don't want to put distortion on a condenser microphone, do you? That's what's inside the guitar. So this I treat as my electric guitar. The microphone is like my percussion. The piezo is like my acoustic guitar. But then the 4th pickup is actually just here. And it's actually a little contact transducer under the wood. Sorry, it's inside, and that actually is synchronized, or it's positioned to where I do this. And the folks might have seen that when I play guitar, I flick my heel in to get this kind of bass drum sound. I'm actually going to take the delay off right now. I'm going to change effects on the Tonewood amp to, let's go to a straight hall reverb sound. There we go, so we don't have the delay. That was me switching effects on the Tonewood amp. So it's like having effects pedals, but they're just on the back of the guitar. It's great. So that's my kick drum. Again, you're not hearing that pickup today because of the limitations of streaming, but when you come to a show and you hear me hit here, that's going through the subs, through its own channel, and it kicks you in the chest like Godzilla. It's awesome. So it's sort of just an extra way to get a fatter sound. So we have acoustic guitar, percussion, electric guitar and subwoofer kick drum kind of thing, right? So that's how the pickups are kind of arranged, and then it goes through some processing on my pedal board to balance them all, correctly, and EQ them all correctly before going out to front of house. And it's been a setup I've had for a while, and it works. It's effective, I think.
Just the stuff that Tommy does and like Chet Atkins and yourself does. How the hell did you even just come up with some of that? It's crazy. Like, especially the thing you were saying with your wrist and the 3 separate kind of feeds of the amps and stuff. That's just mental.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, I mean, obviously, spending a lot of time dedicated to one craft takes you down much thinner avenues than the casual kind of listener. So obviously that kind of goes without saying. I've just been doing this for quite a while. The live sound thing we'll just put over here for a moment. But in terms of techniques, a lot of it was born out of necessity, because I just grew up in a small town, and there weren't many other people to play music with who were as passionate as I was. And I was just obsessed with music and wanting to play all the time. So I realized the easiest way to do that was to sort of do it myself. And the acoustic guitar is so good for that, because it's hollow. And it allows you to kind of get those extra additional elements. When you ditch the guitar pick, you can obviously get all these different parts. But the actual construction of the techniques came from very scientifically approached arrangements. So I would do some I would start, and I would recommend this to you and to anyone. I would start by arranging cover songs for acoustic guitar. So I wouldn't learn something that already existed. I would take, say, a song like Somebody That I Used to Know, by Gautier, and I would hear what the bass line was, what the chords were, what the drums were doing, and what the melody was doing. And over time it was sort of like, I went beat by beat through the whole song and thought, how can I physically play all of those parts? And it was just looking at the guitar like wood and wire, So the start of the song, when you have that kind of melody, instead of learning the whole melody first, I would do it beat by beat. So the first beat would have a staccato melody note, a more legato bass note, like that. So I realized, okay, well, I can plant my finger back on the melody note, so that's muted, right? But it also had a kick drum. Well, I know that I can get a kick drum by doing this, so I had to practice doing that all at once, right? And I would do that for hours. And that's it. Okay, well, that's that beat of the song done. What's the next beat? Okay, well, there's this chord, but it's staccato. Okay, well, I'm going to mute with this hand. I'm going to roll this hand over. In fact, and then there's also a snare drum. So that sounds like a snare drum. So can I go do that all at once? And I would just work on that hand movement for hours and hours and hours. And then I remember literally vividly for hours I was going, just practicing those movements.
Yeah.
And then, it would progress like that. And it was very slow to begin with, because it was all new. It's all in the right hand. This is just normal guitar playing hand. Yeah. Everything I'm doing is in this hand that's different. But over time, it becomes natural. It becomes like muscle memory. It becomes like, this is a hammer-on. This is a slide. You don't even think about it. When you're jamming like this with this kind of stuff, once it's in you, it's just like walking. You know what I mean? It's just like you don't think about it, you just do it. So, an example that I like to give people is from a technical point of view is with, when you take strumming, right? Say I'm doing like I don't know, Wonderwall, right? I'm in Dadgad tuning right now, by the way. That was another question that someone had, was the tuning of that song. It was in D-A-D-G-A-D. But say I take something like this, Wonderwall, like, today, it's gonna be the day, gonna throw it back to you, right? Normal person would just strum it. But when you've practiced the act of strumming and doing a kick drum, and strumming and doing a snare drum, then suddenly, in fact, I'm going to turn the amp off so you can just hear the guitar with the tone wood, and we won't get too loud. Kick, snare, kick, snare. That becomes natural. And then you just go from there. You know, and you're working on these little micro techniques, and over time it just becomes natural. But each micro technique, by the way, for the benefit of the recording, a micro technique is what I call the act of playing a percussive element at the same time as a musical element. For example, playing a bass note at the same time as playing a kick drum. That motion I would call a micro technique, right?
Yeah.
So over time I build these micro techniques and they become part of my library in the same way that like a hammer-on is, right? And then once I'd done a bunch of covers that had given me excuses to, because when you do a cover, the framework is there. Like, you have to get this note, you have to get this bass note, you have to get this thing. You can't cheat. With composing, you can just like cheat. Once I'd done a certain amount of those on my first album, you can hear them. Then I was more free to write using the techniques, and it became a much more freeing process. I'm sorry I talk so much. There's a lot to talk about. So
That's cool.
I hope that does that make sense?
Yeah, because when you just mentioned the covers there, I only saw it the other night, the one you did of Van Halen, Jump, and it just absolutely blew my mind. It's so good.
Right? Yeah. So all of that same thing. I'm doing the kick drum with the bass note. Here I was doing a chord with a sound hole. So my fingernail was running into that. It hurts, but you got to be strong, right?
I'd say so.
So I wanted to give an extra emphasis when they say jump, you know? So it's just on that second beat of the bar. 1, 2. I've got to do the sound hole, and everything else is just like this, right? Jump. Might as well jump. Big sound holes, you know. So you learn that over time. Then the tapping. There's actually something that's really worth mentioning here. When you tune in an alternate tuning or an open tuning, specifically, for those of you who don't know, the difference between an altered tuning and a open tuning is that an open tuning is harmonically appropriate, like a chord. You know, standard tuning is an altered tuning because it sounds like garbage when you play the strings open. You know, but in an open tuning like Dadgad, you have so many duplicate strings vertically that are in harmony. Loads of D's and A's, they all work together. You know, so you can get very easily nice thick harmonies for things like that. I'm doing these hammer-ons and they're all in harmony. It works so well, so the tuning choice is really so important.
Yeah.
And for that song, actually, that song's actually normally in C, but I did it in D because I wanted to do it in Dadgad tuning, and obviously it made a lot of sense. It's amazing. So speaking of Tommy, we did put out this EP called Accomplice Volume 3, which came out a week ago, last Friday, and I'd absolutely adore you to check it out. It's available to download on iTunes, and it's also available to stream everywhere. Now, this EP was recorded in California, in LA, in Tarzana. We recorded the 4 songs all in one take. Tommy sat there away from me, looking at me. I'm sat here, I'm mic'd up, he's mic'd up. There's no click track, no nothing. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, let's play the song. And it's the most honest, raw, yet beautiful sounding recording that I've ever done, I think, because it's just so like vintage gear, analog, tape delay, all that stuff. But we needed a 5th track because we ended up we only needed like half an hour to record these 4 songs, right? So we had all this studio time left, and Tommy was thinking, well, where can we do another song? So I recorded in one take this song that I'm about to play now by a band called the 1975. Tommy had never heard it before, so I recorded it. We bounced it to his iPhone. He went on a coffee run while listening to it in his headphones. And when he came back, he sat down, and without touching the guitar once, 3, 2, 1, go, he played his part on top. And if you want to hear that and hear how beautifully honest that is, check out the recording on Spotify. True story. It's like watching a genius work. I love this song so much. It's in standard tuning. And the singer of the band reached out to say how much he enjoyed our arrangement. And I'm going to go and see them on tour in October in the States. A song called Be My Mistake. All right. Little abridged version. I cut that in half just because we, if you want to hear more of it, check out the EP, right? Rock and roll. This is so much fun. Nerd question. Can I see one of you? Can I see somebody? I feel like I'm talking to myself. Is anyone brave enough to put their hand up and introduce themselves? I'll give you a sip of coffee to decide. Hey, dude, nice to meet you.
You too, man. It's I'm a little late to the session, so I have to go back and check out the first half. But I'm not sure if you've already talked about this, but on the top of the guitar there, like where it looks like a pick guard, is that a percussive thing or is
this
that
thing?
Yeah.
Right on, man. So this is there's an interesting story about this actually. So this guitar is made by a guitar luthier named Andreas Kuntz. It's a very unfortunate last name. Andreas. I'm gonna just like space out the letters a little bit because I don't want it to get flagged by the by the bots or whatever. But that's his real name, and I kind of love that because when I go to Australia, I can just make so many puns on stage and they love it. Not so much in America, but the original concept of this came from a previous luthier of which I have 3 guitars of. This luthier is named Nick Benjamin. And Nick Benjamin made my first guitar, my second guitar, and my very cool secret guitar. It's not really that much of a secret, but I'm working on a secret tune for my next album that will surprise some people. And he did this as a fix for a guitar player named Eric Roche, who was one of my guitar heroes. He's no longer with us, but he was, damaging his guitar like Willie Nelson. So Nick put this, it's just a piece of spruce wood, just put on almost as if it's like a band-aid, and it's like, hey, if you want to bash up your guitar, why don't we just reinforce it and stick a piece of wood over it? Initially, it was just covering an actual hole that Eric had made, right, on his guitar. And then one of Eric's students, a gentleman named Thomas Lieb, amazing guitar player and good friend of mine, inherited, I believe, one of Eric's guitars. I might be embellishing the story a little bit, but he ended up having this on his guitar. And there's some old Thomas Lieb videos on YouTube that shows this. And then because Nick was making my guitars, I then requested he put one on mine because I was interested in this kind of sound, right? It's basically a piece of spruce wood, but as you scratch it with your nails, over time, the soft bits of the wood get worn away, and the grain, the hard grain remains, and it creates this little, like, guiro kind of thing. So I'm using it a lot to, whatever I'm going to do. Nice little effect to add. I played it a lot in the first song, actually. So we call it a scratch pad. And people ask about this so much that my dad, who's recently retired, and it was a woodworker, has agreed to start a little scratch pad production line out of his garage. So we're going to get that set up on my website in the near future, where people can send him traces of their guitars, and he'll make one and send it out in the post and sign and number them and everything. And I like to keep things in the family, and that's with Nick Benjamin's consent, by the way. I would never try and rip off someone else's things without their permission. But you'll see a lot of guitarists do that now. No shade, but there's a lot of stealing of ideas going on out there. But Nick Benjamin is the authority on those, yes.
And is it unfinished, so you have the grain still?
That's exactly right. On this guitar, so this was, and Andreas put this on at my request, this is the exact same wood as the top. I don't know if you could see there, but the grain actually goes straight in. It's when you see it up close, it's really beautiful. It's the exact same material, it's just this is finished. And over time, you can see how the difference in color, and the difference in texture. It's same. This is a satin finish, and this is unfinished. Same wood, and this is 38-year-old Sitka spruce on this guitar.
Wow. Well, that's cool, man. I'm glad you're on this platform now.
Me too, man. It's such
amazing to see you.
It is such a cool environment, and it's nice to meet you guys. I'll try and think of. I'm trying to think of something I'd like to play. Actually, I was saying that I'm using the Tonewood amp on the back here. I know you're a little late here, but this Tonewood amp is on the back of my guitar, like that. And all these effects you're hearing, I'm programming on this, and they're coming out the sound hole.
I've seen your videos on that product, and so is it a mainstay on your guitars?
Well, it's removable, like it's with magnets, but
for you, do you is it pretty much on most of your?
Yes, when I'm at home writing, playing, doing things like this, because it's basically like having a pedal board without a pedal board, and I want to just walk around the house playing guitar, and I want to have reverb, and the reverb comes out the sound hole, In fact, this sounds like a plug. I guess it is a plug. If you go on my my website, or for anyone interested, on my website, and maybe Mark can send a link, there's also in my Instagram bio, there's like a link tree, and if you scroll all the way down, there's like a $30 discount on a Tonewood amp that you can get if you click through that link. So basically what I've got right now is a reverb and delay combo, and I've set it to a tempo that I think is a kind of nice little groove. So I'm going to have a little jam on a John Mayer tune right now.
Okay.
Let's see if we can get a nice little reverb and delay, and I'll try and... Right?
Well, I'll let you go, man. And
Sounds cool.
It's good meeting you and seeing you.
Pleasure, man. Pleasure. Thanks, man. Nice to meet you, Corey. And you know what? Just before I do that, I'm going to bring up Will. Hey, Will. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
Hey, doing good, man. This is so much fun. This is like... I'm so glad I get to see faces. I'm a very extroverted person. I need human interaction, or else...
Okay, great. I've been dying to meet you for a long time, actually.
Oh, pleasure.
Thanks for some time to talk with you finally.
Hey.
And with I know you're touring with Tommy Emmanuel, and I've already got my tickets to see you at Sweetwater Music Hall in Mill Valley, California, December.
Awesome. See you there.
So I hope to see you and talk to you personally when you're there.
Fantastic. That's better. Standard tuning. scratch. Solo. Nice little chord to end on. Get that little E flat in there on the top. Oh man, this is so fun. You guys are validating my reason for existing. It's almost like, yeah, it's like doing a show, isn't it? I love it. This is great, man. Mark, thank you so much for having me. I mean, I believe we're at about time. Mark, do you want to jump in and instruct me as to what I should do? I really appreciate everyone's time, but let's hear from the man himself. Welcome, Mark, everybody.
So really appreciative that Mike came and to hang with our community, and yeah, we definitely hope you'll come back and do it again.
Absolutely, this is definitely. I'm not gonna lie. This is the most fun streaming that I've ever had because of this extra interaction. You know, like actually getting to share the little knowledge nuggets and play to an audience that I can physically see sometimes is wonderful. So I really appreciate everyone. I appreciate the people who have interacted with the video and also typed in the chat. It really is wonderful.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider clicking like and subscribing to our YouTube channel so you can keep coming back here for more highlights. I also want to give you the chance to check out the full experience at our website, together.co, and our mobile apps for free. Sign up and you'll get a month to watch unlimited shows. You'll have access to about 25 new live stream shows every month, and at every show there's a virtual meet and greet and live Q&A. Also, we've got tons of sessions available for you to replay on demand. It's a great deal at less than $10 a month, so please show your support for these amazing artists. Sign up with the discount code YouTube25, and in addition to the month free trial, you'll get 25% off your next 3 months. If you have any questions about the service or any of the gear you see around me, put them in the comments below, or come ask me at the site. I'll be attending all our live stream shows this weekend along with you.